How did ancient humans react when they fell in love at first sight? Imagine standing around a fire 30,000 years ago. No cities, no books, no dating apps, no love songs. Just a small band of humans trying to survive another brutal night. And then it happens. Across the flames, your eyes meet someone else's. Your heart races. Your attention locks onto them. You can't stop looking. The strange part? What you would feel in that moment might not be very different from what people experience today. But how is that possible? How could a feeling as complex as love exist before civilization itself? And did ancient humans actually experience love at first sight? Or is that a modern fantasy? The answer reveals something extraordinary about human nature. Most people imagine ancient humans as creatures driven purely by survival. Hunt, eat, sleep, repeat. Love, romance, and attraction are often treated as luxuries that appeared later after society became more advanced. But evidence suggests something very different. Ancient humans had brains almost identical to ours. They laughed, grieved, formed friendships, cared for children, and likely experienced powerful emotional bonds. When archaeologists discover prehistoric graves where individuals were buried carefully beside loved ones, sometimes holding each other, they find clues that emotional attachment existed long before written history. So if ancient humans had the capacity for love, what happened when they encountered someone who immediately captured their attention? At first glance, the answer seems obvious. They felt attraction. But that's only part of the story, because the feeling we call love at first sight may have evolved for a very specific reason. And it wasn't romance. It was survival. Here's what most people don't realize. Your brain makes judgments about people astonishingly fast. Within seconds, sometimes less, it begins evaluating faces, voices, body language, health, strength, and countless subtle signals. This process didn't begin in modern society. It was shaped over hundreds of thousands of years. For ancient humans, choosing the wrong partner carried enormous risks. A weak alliance could threaten survival. A dangerous partner could endanger children. A poor social connection could isolate someone from the group. As a result, evolution favored brains capable of making rapid assessments. What we call love at first sight may actually be the conscious experience of countless unconscious calculations happening all at once. The ancient hunter looking across the campfire wasn't simply admiring someone's appearance. Their brain was asking invisible questions. Can this person be trusted? Are they healthy? Would they strengthen my future? Do they belong with me? And all of those signals could arrive in an instant. But something strange happened. Humans didn't stop at attraction. We developed something far rarer, deep emotional attachment. And that's where the story becomes fascinating. Scientists studying human bonding have discovered that romantic love activates some of the same reward systems associated with motivation and obsession. In other words, love isn't just an emotion, it's a biological force. Ancient humans who formed strong pair bonds often gained advantages. Two adults could cooperate in raising children, share food, protect each other, survive longer. Over time, natural selection favored emotional mechanisms that encouraged people to stay connected. But here's a surprising twist. Love at first sight may not have felt romantic in the way modern movies portray it. For ancient humans, the experience was probably more overwhelming and practical at the same time. An intense feeling of fascination, a powerful desire to remain near someone, a sudden shift in attention that made one individual stand out from everyone else, not because poetry existed, not because romance novels existed, but because their brain had identified someone who might matter enormously to their future. The feeling was emotional, but the roots were biological, and that explains something curious about modern life. Even today, people often describe love at first sight as feeling irrational, as if logic temporarily disappears. In reality, logic may be operating at a level too deep for conscious awareness. Now, fast forward to the present, the world has changed beyond recognition. Ancient campfires have become social media feeds. Small tribes have become cities of millions. Yet the human brain remains remarkably ancient. The same mental machinery that helped our ancestors evaluate potential partners still operates inside us. That's why first impressions remain incredibly powerful. Why eye contact can feel significant. Why a brief encounter can stay in someone's memory for years. Technology changed the environment. Human nature changed much more slowly. And this creates an interesting tension. Modern culture often tells us that attraction should be entirely rational, that we should carefully analyze every decision. Yet some of our strongest relationships begin with an emotional reaction that arrives before conscious thought. The ancient human brain still whispers beneath the modern world, and sometimes it speaks faster than reason. The deeper lesson isn't that love at first sight is always real. Sometimes people project fantasies. Sometimes attraction fades. Sometimes first impressions are wrong. But the existence of the experience reveals something profound about humanity. We are not purely logical creatures, nor are we purely emotional ones. We are the product of both. Ancient humans survived because they could think, but they also survived because they could bond, trust, care, commit. Love helped transform isolated individuals into families, families into communities, and communities into civilizations. What feels like a private emotion may have played a role in shaping human history itself. And perhaps that's why stories about sudden love continue to resonate across every culture. They touch something ancient inside us, something older than language, older than cities, older than history. So how did ancient humans react when they fell in love at first sight? Their hearts probably raced, their attention narrowed. Their world briefly changed, much like ours does today. The faces are different. The clothing is different. The world is different. But the feeling may be one of the oldest experiences our species has ever known. Civilizations rose and fell. Empires appeared and disappeared. Yet one thing remained remarkably constant. Human beings have always been searching for someone who feels impossible to ignore. History changed. Human nature remembered.